we start with the Dallas Mavericks, and I'm just assuming that you're gonna like be suggesting head coach trades.
Yeah, I mean, that should be among them. But when you look at the Mavericks, this has become the cliche, but it's still what they need most. They need like the second shot creator slash playmaker. It's Jalen Brunson is good, but he's just not the answer there. Kristaps is never going to be that type of player, even though he has the freedom to pull up from mid range. Goran Dragic is the obvious target. He's not even with the Raptors right now for them. We don't know what he has left. Eric Gordon, I think, would be fantastic for this team. The Mavs do not put any sort of pressure on the rim. They're dead last in rim frequency. So he's the name that stood out to me. Christian Wood would be interesting for them because he's more dynamic offensively than Kristaps. I'm not sure if people know that. Kristaps is the better rim protector and at full strength overall defender. And if they were going to go lower end, because the Mavs don't have trade assets, really. You're getting yourself into either distant first round picks or Maxi Kleba, Dorian Finney-Smith. There's not, unless someone's really in love with Kristaps Porzingis, they don't have a ton of assets. Anfernee Simons, who is about to enter restricted free agency, is Portland willing to part with him at all? And the other name that's been floating around, Kyrie Irving, I don't have the patience for him anymore, but there is some merit to like, why don't those two teams just swap Porzingis and Kyrie Irving? The Nets defense has been better than expected, but their front court rotation is wild. And the Mavs are already dealing with an unvaccinated player in Trey Burke. So being outside New York, maybe that makes that a little easier. I'm so far I don't even want to talk about Kyrie at this point, but to me, there is some merit to that type of swap.
Of those names, I think Eric Gordon is the one that intrigues me most. And the reason for that is not just, as you mentioned, the ability to attack the basket, which is something that Dallas is sorely lacking. And I'm also not that inclined to give up Kristaps right now because I think he's kind of sneakily having a pretty good season. Maybe not shooting the ball particularly well from three, but just in terms of the rim protection, the defensive versatility, the offensive attention that he draws, he has been pretty valuable for the Mavericks. But Jason Kidd wants to do everything in his power to take the ball out of Luka Doncic's hands. That's, for whatever reason, the offensive structure does not seem built to maximize the potential high usage nature of his game. And I don't want to give him another player like someone like Jalen Brunson, who is going to compound that issue. So to me, Anfernee Simons, as good as he's been for the Blazers, I don't really want to see him on the Mavericks because I worry about that further cutting into Luka's production. Whereas Gordon can be that off-ball slashing presence who also can handle and get to the basket. It seems like he is the guy who both aligns with what the Mavericks are already doing and wouldn't push them in a non-beneficial direction.
I totally get that. A name that I thought about, another Blazer, no one's talking about him in trade rumors because he's been good this year, Norman Powell.
He's been really good this year.
If the Blazers are like sort of looking to change, like if they do rebuild, which I don't expect them to, Kristaps for Norman Powell, I think you probably need to attach something to Kristaps in that, but Norman Powell he's sort of like their games just really aren't that similar, but I think he would fit the same mold as Eric Gordon, where he's not going to come in and exacerbate the issues that you're talking about.
Do you think we should just like do live news on this podcast just as we get the Shams and Woj tweets? Like while we were talking, Kendrick Nunn has been cleared from the protocols. Jared Allen has entered. We already saw Trae Young enter the protocols this morning.
Yeah, you know what? We're just
I'm kidding because it would be an 8-hour podcast.
It's funny that Kendrick Nunn, he goes in the league's health and safety protocols. He's cleared. He's not even playing. He's still injured. At some point, do we need the constant news? I'm about to turn off my Woj and Shams notifications because it's like I want all these guys to be all right, but at the same time, it's like, why don't you just tell me who's not in the safety protocol?
It's just depressing at this point,
right? It's also for your mental health. You should probably turn off Woj and Shams notifications. What